Welcome, welcome, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Natan Verhovsky, your host with the most. You are here at the Frequency of Abundance group. We are live 7 days a week. We have captivating talks. We are on so many different subjects and topics, including today, where we're covering on Triumphant Tuesdays, embracing vulnerability, a path to authenticity. Not exactly light reading material, but we're going to make it into something so usable and tangible for you. If you don't know who I am, I'm Natan Verhovsky. I've been an elite energy coach for about 30 years. I've had about 15,000 people come through my hands. I've been starting, blessed enough, through Olympians, Cirque du Soleil acrobats, artists, national sports teams from around the world, and wrote a couple best-selling books on energy management. So I'm coming from that background, and when the world shifted in the pandemic and I had to come online, I wanted to create a place that others that had a message and a meaning and were trying to do some good and not just sell some stuff online could have their voice bigged up universally. So we created Allura Creative Agency. We're a public relations firm. We put on one-of-a-kind events for you and blow a dog whistle to your target audience if you're hunting whales. If you're going after C-suite leaders, executives, reach out to me. Would love to say hi. If you want to be a guest on the show, reach out to me. Love to say hi. I'm going to put my contact in the chat. And if you don't, for whatever reason, get a chance to, come in and go. All you have to do is go to YouTube, to LinkedIn, and you just type the Frequency of Abundance. Boom, click on groups. You're done. You're there. Now, I'm going to put this in the chat. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So, where we're coming from and where we wanted to make sure that you understood today's episode, maybe a little bit different. I want to make sure you know that you can ask questions, comment, like, share, bring a friend, show some love, give a thumbs up. The algorithm loves all that fun stuff, especially when we're doing a live, and this is being broadcast live, omni-channel for me. So, in today's context, let's talk about vulnerability, a path to authenticity. Now, in here, I wanted you to know that, and people are always concerned about vulnerability being something that, makes them feel or seem like they're not as strong as they are. And I don't believe in that, because I believe that if you genuinely give yourself that opening and that space, I believe that makes you look stronger. I really do, and I think that if you're going into that space and you wanted to come from a place of abundance, come from that strength, today's episode is going to be right up your alley. Now, if we're not looking at vulnerability as a weakness, it's our most accurate measure of courage. And that's a beautiful way to look at it. So there's a misconception, how it's strength that leads to authenticity. It could be, but it might be vulnerability too. And it might be the most natural way for you to express your authenticity through that vulnerability. So let's dive in. Let's go segment one. Let's say understanding vulnerability. Good place to start. Let's define it and what it is and what it isn't, right? It's about emotional exposure. It's not about oversharing. That's not vulnerability. It's not TMI, too much information. That's not what we're looking at. We're looking at a proper place that we can share with everyone, and that we can make sure that everyone feels heard and that everyone feels safe. And so, without oversharing, it's emotional exposure. Will you let it hang out a little bit, even though that there's a risk, there's a fear, there's a chance that it might not go as planned and you might not be perceived the way you want? That's vulnerability. Now, it's not easy for everybody. So society and cultural narratives, they're always going to label vulnerability as weakness. I don't agree. I never have. It's been one of my secret superpowers all along. Being open, being vulnerable, being truly genuine and in the moment, people see that. It resonates. It'd be very impressive, like Academy Award winning performance to pull that off if it wasn't genuine. You know what I mean? So much easier to actually have it naturally come out of you than to fabricate. Now, here's where I want to play, and I want to make sure that you know it doesn't have to be hard. Just because they made it that way and it looks that way and stuff, and it's always been told to you that it's that way. Explore that fear of judgment or rejection, why it's so ingrained in you, why it's such a big deal, and know that weaknesses, true ones, vulnerability isn't one of them. It'll let you connect to your true self. It'll enhance your sympathy. More importantly, it'll enhance your empathy. We talked about the difference before, where if you're on a cruise ship and you go out to the deck and somebody's hanging over the deck and they're just completely seasick and nauseous, if you feel sympathy, now you share and feel what they feel. You're sympathetic to it. But if you feel empathy, you don't need to physically go through their seasickness in order to walk over and get them a glass of water to help them. That's empathetic versus sympathetic. So enhance your empathy, enhance your trust in your relationships, connect to your true self, and give yourself greater resilience and courage. That's all the definition and the benefits of vulnerability. If you're going to be vulnerable, you'll connect to your true self. If you're going to be vulnerable, you're going to enhance your sympathy, your empathy, and the trust that you build in relationships. If you're going to be vulnerable, it's going to lead to greater resilience and courage. Go figure. Because you'll be brave in the face of adversity, danger, fear. Let's go section 2. And again, if you have any comments, if you have any likes or shares, throw them in the chat. I would love to hear it. I'd love to see it. Make sure that you know everybody here is for you. Thank you, thank you. I love that. Okay. Second segment, actionable nuggets. This is the part everybody loves, where we're talking deep, we're talking heavy, we're talking thick, we're talking for you. Whether it's for you as a therapist, a person, a healer, a coach, a mom, a dad, a brother, a sister, it doesn't matter. You want it for you want it for your family, for your friends. Okay. If you're a therapist and you want it as an extra tool in your tool belt so you can use it on your clients. Okay. This is what these are. Use them at will. I hope they help. Let's do a self-reflection exercise. So the prompt, write down 3 areas where you feel most vulnerable. And let's reflect on why these areas are challenging. You might have a body image that's bothering you. You might have a nervous tic that's bothering you. You might, I don't know what it is. It doesn't have to be physical, right? It could be any aspect of your life. You feel vulnerable. Maybe when somebody asks you about a certain area or time in your life, you feel vulnerable. Reflect on why they're challenging. That's your prompt. Your action, identify one small brave step that you can take to embrace this vulnerability today. One small step to embrace the vulnerability. What's that brave small step? Okay, next, let's do a reframing exercise. Let's replace what if they judge me with what if they accept me? Practice seeing vulnerability as courage by recalling a moment when you admired someone else's openness. You know, some people are very scared that, hey, there's a 50-50 chance this won't work. I'm like, right. Or on the encouraging glass half full side, there's a 50-50 chance this will work. So you need to know where you're coming from, and that'll give you the biggest strength and opportunity to really make that work. Now, if you're going to go through self-reflection, and you're going to go through reframing exercise, you're practicing seeing vulnerability as courage. Okay, you're recalling a moment when you admired someone else's openness, that they could be so brave and so frank and so open. So let's go for number 3. Let's do an authenticity audit. Let's assess areas of work, your life, your relationship, self-expression. Yes. Areas that you feel inauthentic. Ask yourself, what's one thing I could do to show up more authentically? What's one thing I could do to show up more authentically? So let's go into a connection challenge. Push yourself out there. I want you to pick one trusted person that you love, that you connect, that you know believes in you, that you want to be connected to. Pick one, just one. Trusted person, share something personal or meaningful with them this week. And if you already did, great. Pick another one. The point is to flex this muscle like an exercise. And observe how it changes the dynamic of your relationship. When people all of a sudden feel that you're vulnerable and you open up and you have emotional exposure like we just talked about. That makes you look so much more braver, so much more authentic and real as a complete person. Maybe you're perceived as somebody who's completely unattainable. You know, you've never cried, you've never burped, you've never farted. You're unfallible. But then you show there's a human side to you, where you were scared to do this once, and people are like, you could never be scared of anything. And yes, I'll be authentic here by being vulnerable. Yes, I was. You watch how that level of authenticity increases the dynamic of your relationship. So let's go into, we'll do our third segment. We'll do nuggets of wisdom. Let's look at, and you can find as many examples as you need, stories of impact. Let's look at short examples of public figures or even clients of your own. That might be even easier than, famous people that have just transformed through vulnerability, right? So if you're a therapist and you have clients coming to you, and at first they're guarded and shrouded and hidden, and then all of a sudden they kind of open up to you like you've never experienced before. That is beautiful. That vulnerability, you can see them literally transform as a person by going through that. That's incredibly powerful. Next, you'll experience the mindset shift. So you'll emphasize that vulnerability isn't about the outcome, acceptance or rejection. It's about the courage to show up. So whether you win the beauty pageant, lose the beauty pageant, doesn't really matter. You had the bravery to consider yourself beautiful enough to enter the beauty pageant. So acceptance or rejection is irrelevant. That's the mindset shift. That's what vulnerability will give you. That's the courage to show up. It's I remember Bob Marley had a great quote that being vulnerable is the only way to allow your heart to feel true pleasure. Because it has to be something that is so delicate and fragile and could be taken away. It lets you appreciate the beauty of that in the moment. And its intricate beauty is frailty as well. And so it takes the frailty. It doesn't let you look frail. The moment is a beautiful sharing. It doesn't force it onto you. And that's wonderful. So it gives its own life to its own meaning on itself. I want you to repeat, I am brave enough to be seen as I truly am. I am brave enough to be seen as I truly am. And I'm brave enough to be seen as I truly am. Let that sink in. Now, in the context of where we are, where we're playing today, I wanted you to know that there's so much that you can go into. If in any capacity what we're doing can help you, if you're looking to hunt whales, if you're looking to get a beautiful presence on one of my shows so that you could give your message out to your people more, if you're looking to ask a question, get some guidance, go in a different energetic path and get into more alignment in your life as a peak performer, as somebody who's already at 9 out of 10 in their life, personally and professionally, but you're still curious to go, well, what would 9.1 or 9.2 look like? I invite you to reach out to me. Any which way we can possibly be connected, I believe the tide rises all boats, and we would be here, and we'd be kind of remiss if we didn't have a chance to help and get everybody else out. So I am so stoked that right now we are in week 3 as we're rounding out the bend for season 2. And we started off beautifully. On Motivational Mondays, we had the science behind habit formation. Today on Triumphant Tuesday, we are embracing vulnerability, a path to authenticity. Tomorrow on Winning Wednesdays, we are doing the impact of gratitude on mental well-being. Thursdays, we're developing emotional intelligence for leaders. Fearless Friday, you've got stress management techniques for busy professionals. And aren't we all? Let you sleep in a little bit. Monday to Friday is always 10 a.m. Eastern. On the weekend, pause, relax, sleep in a bit. I'll see you at 1. On Successful Saturdays, we're going to be talking about the art of effective communication. And on Soaring Sunday, cultivating a growth mindset. And then I'll let you get back into the week. But today we were looking at embracing vulnerability as a strength, not a weakness. We're exploring so many different ways to unlock authenticity in your personal and in your professional life. And I'm hoping that it gives you some insights, more, actionable items that you can take with you and know that they're there as tools in your belt, right? Like if you're a carpenter, you don't know that, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So that's why you have to have multiple tools so that you can see a situation the way it really is. Give yourself that daily check-in, right? Take 5 minutes every day. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding because it feels vulnerable? Write it down. Explore it. Give yourself a trigger awareness. Reflect on these moments when you felt defensive or shut down in conversations. Identify if fear of vulnerability played a role. Or maybe you were scared to open up. Look for different vulnerability mapping exercises. Grab a piece of paper, draw a circle inside. Write situations where you're going to feel uncomfortable being open, maybe with a close friend, a loved one. On the outside of that, list the situations where you hold back. Maybe I hold back a bit at work, maybe I hold back a bit with family. And then choose one outside scenario in your circle and brainstorm. Brainstorm ways to make it more authentic and bring more authenticity to it. Focus on the gratitude for courage. So this is a cool practice. Every evening you jot down one moment when you showed up courageous by being vulnerable, and reflect on the power that felt and what you learned. Because now you're at the top of that. There's so much there for you to learn. Go with, and we've talked about this repeatedly, you're looking for baby steps, but consistent ones. So micro authenticity acts, little baby acts of micro authenticity. Commit to those small authentic actions and say, I don't know, when you're uncertain. Imagine the power of that, right? Being human. It's okay, as long as it's not, too much information, TMI. You can share a personal story in meetings or conversations. Admit when you need help is a big one. I think that might be the simplest, quickest, and most amazing vulnerability exercise of all. Just admitting when you need help. Period. If there's anything more vulnerable, you let me know. That's why we talked about asking somebody that you trust for feedback, and ask them how you can show up more authentically. You might be very surprised with the feedback that you receive. Don't be defensive. Just go into it focusing on growth. Give yourself that opening. So you can stand in front of the mirror. This is a beautiful one. You affirm, it's okay to be seen as I truly am. It's okay to be seen as I truly am. It's okay to be seen as I truly am. It's okay to be seen as I truly am. And repeat it 5 times. And that'll build so much self-acceptance, which will be the number one start to getting the rest of the world's acceptance. You gotta love you before anyone else does. So let's take some time, let's share. Listen. We talked about, taking a trusted person, sharing something personal. Ask them to share too. Make it a back and forth. Make it a two-way street. Make it important that other people feel that you're not just giving them you, but you're giving them you because you kind of wanted them to give a bit of themselves back to you too. You're just as curious about them as you're hoping they're curious about you. And that's beautiful. Now, you obviously want to set some boundaries, right? So identify an area where you've been overexposed or oversharing. Set a boundary. Protect yourself, your emotional well-being. While you can still stay authentic, you still need to set some boundaries with authenticity. So give yourself that space. Look at even past disconnects that you've had. See if there's a recent conflict or misunderstanding. Reach out and say, I want to reconnect and share how I felt. See if practicing openness without blame can help you bring that situation back. There's always an apology practice. That's a fun one. So reflect on a moment that you avoided vulnerability by lashing out instead. or shutting down or withdrawing. And consider apologizing to the person involved and acknowledge your feelings. It was a real thing and it really happened. Apologizing would be an incredible practice, and it'll shed so much emotional weight that you've been carrying around as baggage off of you. Look at a weekly practice, a weekly vulnerability goal. One small, cute little goal every week. Step out of your comfort zone. Share an idea in a meeting. Express appreciation to a friend. Give a little extra story to a loved one that shows a time that you were challenged. You can write about it. Journal. Have fun. Moments this week when I chose to be vulnerable. What I fear others think of me when they see the real me. How can I offer myself compassion when I feel exposed? Go deep. Have fun. You can have this as deep and as meaningful as you want. You can have these as topical, light topics and laugh your butt off. It's up to you, and it's more importantly up to whichever way you like to make a change, whichever way you like to see a difference in you. So everyone's got a learning lesson, a learning language, a love lesson. Well, I'm going to try this English thing again. Everyone's got a learning language and a love language that work best for them. Find yours. Find the way that you know somebody's expressing love to you. That's a big one. If you are a person who loves service and the partner you're with is a romantic and they want to express their love to you romantically in different gestures, and you're like, I would have just loved it if you would have taken out the garbage and done the dishes. That to me shows love. Meanwhile, they're like, but I made this incredible dinner and bought you flowers. That to me shows love. Who cares about the dishes? So you're talking two different love languages. You need to be aware of your partner's love language so that you guys can speak the same and both of you can feel loved, honored, heard, respected, which once again goes to vulnerability. If you want to authentically love each other, you need to be vulnerable enough to ask, what does that look like? What does that feel like? How does that make you feel? That might be a great visualization for courage. Visualize that. Visualize a scenario where you want to be vulnerable. Imagine yourself speaking confidently, staying calm, feeling proud afterwards. So go through what you can. Today's been a day we explored so many topics. Rewind, come to our group. It's free. It's a free group on LinkedIn. It's the Frequency of Abundance. Type the Frequency of Abundance, click, boop, groups. You're there. Come join us. All of these captivating talks are there and recorded. Reach out to me if you want to be on one of them. Reach out to me if you want to have incredible online events that blow a dog whistle to like C-suites and target audiences that are whales. Reach out to me if on a personal level, energetic coaching and realignment is something that makes sense in your life right now. Know that these lessons are here for you. If you want to join our paid community, it's tens of dollars. It's there to give a chance for others to really feel that the tide raises all boats. That's where we have coaching and groups and networking and accountability partners. So much fun in the sun. Any which way you want to come and stay and play, reach out to me. I'd love to have some fun. You can look for incredible release through the vulnerability, turning it into authenticity. You can write a letter to someone. You don't need to send it. Express something vulnerable and then shred it, burn it. Release the fear holding it in. A lot of vulnerability is fear. Release the fear. Vulnerability shines, becomes a brighter light than you can imagine, and other people love to see that light. And encourages them to turn on their own light. So you are a beacon, my friend. Your vulnerability speaks volumes about you and teaches others to open up and be vulnerable themselves. And if we all did that, the level of authenticity that we'd have globally would be incredible. Now, we could still work on empathy, which is why I end the episode saying be kind to each other. But let's focus on that. I'm going to see you tomorrow. Come on in. Come on and have some fun. It's going to be excellent. Excellent, I'm telling you. Winning Wednesday. Impact of gratitude on mental well-being. Not a lot of good physical well-being going on without mental well-being. And gratitude is the fastest way to get the good stuff. So join me tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. I'm Natan Verhovsky, your host with the most. Be kind.